Hi, let us look upon registration under the GST law. We will look which persons has to register under the GST law and what are the advantages to such persons and whether there is any disadvantage for not registering under the GST law and what is the procedure for registration, etc. So, let us first look upon the advantages of taking registration under the GST law. Registration under GST law means furnishing or filing necessary forms, documents and signing it with digital signature or e-signature. And after proper approval from the department, that person will be recognized as a legally registered taxable person. So, let us look upon the advantages. The first advantage is that person will be called as a legal entity as per the GST law. It has a legal status. The organization, the person has a legal status. Then the next advantage is when he is purchasing goods or services, the person has to pay GST to the supplier. So, that tax which is paid to the supplier is called as input tax credit, and that input tax credit can be deducted from the total tax liability of the person. That is, if a person has registered under the GST law, then for any tax paid for the goods or services that is purchased from a supplier, that can be deducted from the tax liability of the person. So, only when the person is registered under the GST law, input tax credit can be availed. The next advantage is that when he is selling his goods or services, the person will be collecting price from the customers along with tax. So, only when he is a registered taxable person, he can allow input tax credit to the customers. That is, if the customers are purchasing from this person, the customers can get input tax credit benefit and the customers can deduct input tax credit from their tax liability. In this scenario, for customers, I mean business persons. It is applicable on B2B transaction, business to business transactions. Normally, the normal customers, the consumers cannot avail input tax credit. So, all these advantages are available to a person only when he is registered under the GST law. So, he will be called as a legal entity as per the GST law. He can claim input tax credit and he can transfer the input tax credit to the customers or purchasers. The main advantage of registration as per the GST law is that only after registering as per the GST law, the taxable person can collect tax from the customers. Without registration, any person cannot collect tax from the customers. So, let us look upon the persons who has to register as per the GST law. So, all these categories has to look separately. That is, general category, mandatory category, exempted category and transitional category. So, as I told earlier, let us take the general category or normal category in which we have to take the threshold limit of aggregate turnover. So, I have told that there is a limit for all states that is 20 lakhs and for northeastern states it is 10 lakhs. Northeastern states include Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir. All these states will have a threshold limit of 10 lakhs. So only when they have crossed these 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs, as the case may be, they have to register under the GST law. And for calculating this aggregate turnover, let us look how we have to calculate this aggregate turnover to calculate the threshold limits. All this should be included in the aggregate turnover, that is taxable supplies, exempt supplies, interstate supplies and exports. So all these should be included in the aggregate turnover, and the registration has to be calculated on the PAN, permanent account number of the person. It has to be calculated on all India basis, that is supplies made in all states including normal states and northeastern states which are having 10 lakhs turnover. All should be included for calculating the aggregate turnover for that period. And the aggregate turnover will not include supplies under reverse charge mechanism, that is inward supplies, and non-taxable supplies. So these should be excluded. Then after making this calculation, we have to analyze whether their aggregate turnover has crossed 10 lakhs or 20 lakhs. If it is crossed, they have to compulsorily register. Then let us look upon the next category, that is mandatory or compulsory category. The general category will not apply to the list of persons who are under the mandatory category. The main person who are listed in the list of mandatory category is the person who are making interstate supplies, casual taxable persons or non-resident taxable persons, persons who are required to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, electronic commerce operator, persons who are required to deduct tax at source, that is government companies or such notified persons, the suppliers who are supplying through an electronic commerce operator, the persons who are collecting tax at source, that is TCS provisions including electronic commerce operators, and agents who are providing goods or services for their principals or such taxable persons, input service distributor, person supplying online information or database service from outside India to a person inside India, and any other person who is notified by the central government or state government and who are required to mandatorily register under the mandatory category or the compulsory category as per the GST law. So all these persons has to compulsorily register as per the GST law. The threshold limits will not be applicable to such persons. I have already told there is an exempted category, that is mainly the persons who are supplying non-taxable goods or exempted goods, and agriculturist as per the definition of GST law. So those persons are exempted. There can be other exemptions also as and when any notification is issued by the government. And there is a transitional category, which means simply the registrants as per the existing laws, central excise or VAT or service tax or whatever it may be, will be transferred to GST system as per the enrollment procedures. So we have studied all the persons, all categories who has to register as per the GST law and also exempted category. Now let us look upon when we need to take registration. The registration should be made, that is the application for registration should be made within 30 days of one becomes liable to register. That is, if a person is crossed the threshold limit, he has to forward the application for registration within 30 days. The effective date of registration is if he has forwarded the application for registration within 30 days of he became liable to register, then the effective date of registration will be the date on he became liable to register. If he became late, he didn't apply within 30 days and he applied for registration after 30 days, in that case, the effective date of registration will be the date on which the registration was granted. So, the 30 days is very much important. There is a provision for voluntary registration as per the GST law. If any person need to register voluntarily, they can do it. They can apply themselves without looking upon various provisions of GST law. And in that case, the effective date of registration will be that date on which the registration certificate was issued by the department. Otherwise, it is the date of order of registration. So, effective date of registration, I think you are clear. So, in this video, we have seen the registration requirements for various categories of persons, the advantages of registration, and the effective date of registration, as well as the time within which we have to apply for registration. Hope the points are clear to you. Thank you.